Hello, and welcome to Jason Cavness Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cavness. I'm also CEO founder of Cavness HR. At Cavness HR, we provide HR to companies with 49 or fewer people by providing a tech platform that automates HR or providing access to a dedicated HR business partner. And I want to welcome you to the Jason Cavness Experience Ho Chi Minh City edition. We're currently doing a podcast from Earth Ventures here in Ho Chi Minh City. Earth VC is on a mission to unfuck the Earth. They're doing this by supporting breakthrough scientific research, empowering outlier founders to build enduring climate businesses, and investing in high-growth startups that decarbonize the world. Earth VC empowers founders who are ambitious, breakthrough, and committed. Early VC is currently investing in the pre-seed to Series A round. If you think it might be a match, reach out to them at rebuild@earth.vc. Our guest today is Claude Rety. Claude, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So, Claude, first question, and hopefully this is an easy first question for you. Talk to you about the importance of being a family man.
What makes a family man?
What's the importance to you of being a family man?
First thing is building a routine that allows myself, I'll take my example, on being present and making sure that I spend the right amount of time with my family. I mean, we can be so engulfed with our multiple careers and entrepreneurial experiences that it's easy to sometimes get tempted and just put more hours of work. But what I've learned in the past is that we need some sort of balance in that kind of family relationship, because in order to perform well at work, you need to have your roots strong. And in my case, having a strong family, spending time over a dinner table in the evening, for example, or being there when the kids wake up. That's what I cherish as being a family man. But I that will be just for the kids part. I think in a family, you also have the spouse, and being able to continuously reinventing a relationship with your spouse is important. Finding ways to, again, be present and not always being on the phone or thinking about work or priorities or emergencies or the headaches of the day. Funny enough, we found a new way to reinvent a family relationship, in particular with my spouses, with sports. And you've been here now in Taoyuan for a bit. You've probably noticed a pickleball craze happening all over town. So we jumped on that bandwagon, and now we have our kind of routine where maybe 3 years ago we would go out in the bar. Now we go to the pickleball court, just spend some quality time together. So
Yeah.
all in all, what I'm trying to say is being intentional and finding the time to be with the family is what I qualify as paradigm in a family man.
Yeah, every guest I've had so far is like a pickleball fanatic. Everyone I talk to Vietnam's pickleball fanatic. It's like,
Enough now.
yeah, like one thing I'm trying to figure out, how did Vietnam become like such a place for pickleball?
I don't know. I mean, I was in Europe 2 months ago and I tried to get some gear at one sports shop and I mentioned pickleball and they looked at me like, what are you talking about? So I guess they're still behind, but it's nice to see Vietnam picking up the trend following what's happening in the US. And it matches the culture of the country. I'm not surprised for Southeast Asia, a country that's very social, that likes to meet, especially in the South. I mean, obviously, we have 2 countries here, maybe 3 in Vietnam, but the South is really keen on getting together, spending good time. And it's such a social sport where people don't not necessarily know how to play, but can get together. We applied it now for corporate events, company events. We have bi-monthly pickleball events. Just even yesterday, our companies were meeting together to play. So it's good. It's a good place to hang out.
So as far as like doing the family stuff, do you have like everything like strictly scheduled, like Saturday noon to 5 family time, or just like everything happen kind of organically?
Um, in order for me to spend that family time, I adopted a very early morning. So I'm part of that 5 a.m. club. It's actually more 4 a.m. than 5. So I really find some time for myself from 4 to 6. And then I get into some exercise, 6 to 7. And then 7 on, that's when the kids wake up. have breakfast with them, and we spend that good hour together. And leaving, I have no guilt in leaving the office at 5, 5:30. Get again a bit more exercise in the evening and be home for dinner at 7. 7 to 8, that's our dinner time. 7, 8, 8:30, go over some homework, talk about the day. Never watch TV in the evening. We're only talking and sitting around the table. And curtains, yeah, lights off at 9. That's a weekday rigorous. Saturdays, unfortunately, unfortunately or fortunately, is a great time for me to catch up on some week work that hasn't been done. So we work on Saturdays. But Sundays is our family time.
Okay.
I mean,
So
there's nothing interrupting on Sundays.
how have you done this in the past? I think a lot of men struggle with this, right? So obviously, if you're a guy, a husband, a father, you want to spend time with your wife and kids, right? To have quality time. But then sometimes you spend time with your wife and kids, you're not working your business, not making money. You're not making money. You're not providing for your family, right? So how do you like kind of balance that stuff?
And that's a $1 million question right there. And it's something that I've been working on for maybe the past 20 years since I'm here in Asia. And it's an art of always kind of fine tuning and finding new tricks. So everything I mentioned to you earlier is by trial and error. And I think at the end also, if I'm well prepared, if I have enough time to schedule, if I have enough me time, and I'm in control of my day, and that control of my day, knowing what I want to get done, those top 3 activities, those top 3 intentionalities that I want to have at work, give me the freedom to be present when my kids are there next to me. And I grew up in an environment where my parents were working every day. And one of the reasons why I want to be so close to my children is because the lack of attention I had when I grew up as a kid, not having your parents come to that baseball game, not being able to come to the school end of the year show. There was a lacking. So, am I the best? No. Could I do better? Absolutely. But I think the willingness and trying and every year doing a little bit better. Like, again, you're going to laugh, but so now we established twice a week family pickleball early morning. I know it's that bad. So I get my kids out at from 6 to 7 in the morning, and we go all 5 of us. So my wife and my 3 daughters, and we go and play. That's again, we're creating a routine so that, well, at least we spend time together.
Yeah. So how many kids do you have?
3 daughters.
3 daughters. I don't know, are they like young, 10 and below, or
9, 10, 17.
Okay. So how do you think being an entrepreneur helps you like be a better role model for your kids? Like, how do you think that present that life to your kids is going to help them out?
Well, a lot of the things that I learned in managing the teams and the companies, in a way, you kind of apply it to your family, and you end up putting in tools to how can we align better on our year objectives. So we established last year our family EOS, entrepreneur operating system.
So they're fully ingrained in the entrepreneur mindset already. That's good. That's good.
So it wasn't on purpose to make them become entrepreneurs, but it's to give them a toolkit so that they can be
like here's another option in life.
Very clear on what they want to get done and accountable. Because we say, like, you know what, I'm going to do that. And everybody says at the beginning of the year, let's do that. But we don't find the time to sit down and to structure our thoughts, to put in place a real game plan. And we read a lot about planning, but what does it really mean? And having this kind of roadmap and toolkit that allows you to break it down. And if at a 10-year-old, you're able to have that clarity of what are you going to get done throughout the next 90 days as potential rocks to complete. It's just unbelievable, the performance of a kid. And those are lessons that still adults, maybe in their 40s, 50s, and maybe sometimes 60s, don't know how to harness. So we apply a lot of I'm part of EO Entrepreneur Organization as well in Vietnam and also APAC. And a lot of the tools that we learn through our different forums or conversations are just unbelievable conversation starters, being able to ask the right question, asking the why, not always solving the problem.
Yes, like you're right. Some of you people spend so much time on getting the answer, but they're trying to answer the wrong question, right?
Yeah. Or sometimes you try to answer somebody's question, but you don't help him to find his own answer.
Mhm.
And I always go with, well, why? Why do you feel like that? Like, and we have these conversations over a dinner table. So my 9-year-old daughter is giving feedback to my 17-year-old daughter. And it blows us all away. And you see, if you empower that child
Mhm.
at 9 to have a mature conversation with a 17-year-old, and the 17-year-old is able to be in that environment saying, okay, I hear you and I appreciate that. That's a good perspective. I didn't think about that.
Mhm. It's not like 17 get away from me, you little brat, little sister. You're only 9. You don't know what you're talking about.
There's a bit of that, but when we go into that environment of like, we're maybe one of the daughters is having a struggle, or maybe my wife is, or maybe I am. Guys, I want to talk about it. I want to get your opinion on this. Let's talk about it. So are there directly into business tools? No, but I think it makes them become a better leader,
Mhm.
and it makes them more strong in they're stronger in their communication. They're confident in what they're saying. And if they're able to express their feelings and how they tackle challenges and open up, I think that's maybe one of the starting points of being a good leader and a good entrepreneur.
And you do a lot of traveling also, correct?
But
Do you have a favorite place you've been to so far? Or favorites?
for business or for pleasure?
Either one.
I enjoy my yearly trip back to the States.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't had a lot of vacation
Mhm.
traveling. But yeah, back to the States is always good to go back.
So what's a place you've been to that you actually had a good time, but people like, you had a good time where? Like, there's no way, like, I don't know, something crazy like Tunisia or Bolivia, like some random place like you had a good time at, and people like, there's no way.
Well, Indonesia
Indonesian.
was, even for me, was a
Mhm.
surprise. First time I landed in Indonesia, this was probably 15 years ago. I landed on a Friday evening at 5 p.m. and I probably reached my hotel. It was midnight.
What?
So the commute from the airport to the hotel was longer than the flight from
Whoa.
Shanghai to Jakarta. And I called my wife that day and I said, well, honey, if there's one place we're never traveling to, it's Indonesia.
Mhm.
Sometimes, life is a bit funny. It
Mhm.
throws you a bit of a curveball. And what, 6 months later, you get an offer, you can't say no.
Yeah.
We end up finding ourselves in Indonesia. But actually it was a blessing. That's where my two youngest daughters were born. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country, great people. So welcoming, so warm. The food, the culture,
Mhm.
even learning more about the Muslim culture was
Mhm.
really eye-opening for me. So it broadens it. I have a better understanding of the world.
Yeah.
So Jakarta, if there was
Okay.
a place where, and even a lot of people say, Jakarta is
Yeah, I would think the same thing, Jakarta. Like, I used to think of traffic and, all
traffic,
this other stuff.
pollution,
Yeah.
but it was, if you know how to live around the chaos,
Mhm.
it's really a great place to be.
And you used to do a lot of running also?
A lot of,
Running?
yeah, still
Like,
do.
like 3 miles a day, 4 miles a day.
Minimum, yeah, 3 miles a day.
Okay.
And then when at the peak,
Mhm.
probably, we go to 10 kilometers.
Okay.
At some point, maybe even doing half marathons twice a
Okay.
week.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa. And you run here in the Thao Ding district?
Over here,
Yeah.
Taodian, yeah.
Thao Ding,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So how do you like when it floods, you just run through the water or you have a different route?
So yeah, you navigate around the flooding. You know which are the roads that don't get flooded.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, this road where I live at is like it could rain like maybe 1 minute, the whole road like floods like somebody poured a river in there.
there's some
Yeah.
pockets. There's some
Yeah.
pockets where you don't want to go. But the main Yuan Van Hong here that goes around is you're usually safe.
Yeah.
If that one's just flooded,
Mhm.
you don't want to go out anyway.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed in Vietnam is like it's so entrepreneurial here. There's a lot of tech startups going, tech's big here, like people Nvidia's moving here. Why do you think Vietnam, and has always been like this, like so entrepreneurial? And why do you think like Vietnam has like this vibe that's going on right now, that's so entrepreneurial startup-y, so to speak?
Well, I compare a lot Ho Chi Minh to Shanghai back in 2005. I feel that same energy. I see a lot of people that um, realize that this is probably one of the great places where you can, if you put the effort, you can still get great rewards. I think, I mean, the entrepreneurial landscape has always been there. I've been hearing a lot about great foreigners coming in. And I'll take foreign entrepreneurs as an example, but they've been here for the past 20 years. They set up great businesses in hospitals, medical care, um, uh, milk, retail, unbelievably successful. And that hasn't really changed. In my ecosystem, I see a lot of companies and people building their own on systems, on companies. More tech, obviously, now, because a lot of the outsourcing on the tech has been moving, and Vietnam has a good reputation. We have obviously Philippines and Thailand and Malaysia and India, but Vietnam seems to be quite productive on the tech side. I have a lot of friends in my ecosystem that are in tech businesses, and they're doing very successfully, either in Hanoi or here in Ho Chi Minh.
So let's suppose there's somewhere in another country, we say France, United States, Britain, maybe Kenya, and they want to come do business in Vietnam. What advice you'd have? What do you have for them?
To start a new
Yeah,
business,
here.
I think they need to really understand the market and what is the purpose. Is it for domestic or international? Are they coming here to develop a business that is to to utilize some of the resources? So is it for using the tech resources, or is it for the labor because it's still quite affordable? Or is it to utilize some of the production and ship out? But some of the advice I would say is be clear on what is the structure that you want to set up when you set up your local entity. I feel that sometimes, again, going back on planning, if you have the right legal entity and you have the right corporate structure, you need to follow the rules. I like to follow the rules by the book for work permits or for, capital registration. What is the right legal entity? Making sure that you know how to, if you're receiving funds here in Vietnam, how can you structure it so that you can have those funds move out of the country if you need. I would also recommend to build a holding outside in Singapore that owns the local entity, so you still have that kind of international setup. I'm not too confident in having 100% fully owned local entity. I think it's good to have some branches on the outside. Working with a good accounting system, a good accounting services.
Yeah, I've heard like the Vietnam accountants, that's a little bit different.
You better get your stuff right. There's a lot of paperwork that has to be super clean, super organized. Not saying other countries it's not, but here it's still very red tape. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of stamps. You need hard copies. You need to have the documents and numbers matching. If you get audited, you want to make sure that everything is super sharp. So I wouldn't waste money on that. I think it could avoid a lot of problems in the future. And then I think here you with managing the team and managing the staff, you really want to be a role model, because we're not from Vietnam. And as they're welcoming us, and we need to be the highest role model possible and doing good business. And treating the staff with the highest standards. So I think we need to be inspirational in showing them that there's another way of working. There's a traditional, let's say, Vietnamese way. But I think our added value is creating a culture where we can trust people, where we can empower them, that we don't micromanage, that we give them a chance to speak, that we let them grow, that we give them room to do things that they would not potentially be able to do in a traditional, let's say, rigid Vietnamese company.
Yes, yes. So you mentioned earlier, like Vietnam is actually kind of sort of like three countries, right? So I'm guessing you mean North, Central, and South.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess they have like their own different cultures and different way of speaking. This we're doing business. It's like completely different or kind of different.
Very different,
Very different.
very different. Um, I think the northern Vietnamese are are very disciplined in their spending. They invest, and this is very stereotypical, but um, they would invest. It's important to have the right car, have an apartment, invest in education. Versus in the South, maybe we'll have spend more time having pleasure, enjoying cafe and having some drinks, entertaining a bit more. And it goes, you look back at the history and you understand why those different culture traits. And in the middle, it's a blend, right? But uh, yeah, different working environment. I think even to be very honest, I don't have much experience working with the North. I'm very familiar with the South. And if I were to go and work in some of our businesses and move to the North, I'd be very cautious because it wouldn't be a copy paste, even in terms of marketing material, in terms of communication and approaching the customer, even in terms of promotions that work in the South might not necessarily work in the North. So it's a distinctive strategy going in the North. It's not just another city that you like copy paste.
Yeah. So, are you still involved with something called the Great China Bridge Forum within the Entrepreneurs Organization?
Yeah, that's part of EO. That GCB, I moved to APAC. So
Is it like a nonprofit organization or something like that?
entrepreneur
Or
organization is around 17,000 members worldwide. It's an organization that brings entrepreneurs together. The prerequisite is you need a business that does, at least for Vietnam, $1 million in turnover, and you need to be the founder of that company. So you have members across North America, Japan, India, all across the world. I mean, 17,000. So great, any kind of industry.
yeah, what's your role with them?
I'm a member.
Just a member?
I'm a member, and I'm part of the Vietnam chapter.
Okay.
We have around 30 members, and we meet for different kind of learning events.
And so it's been like a networking event, networking organization, and people like bounce ideas and
So it's not a networking event where you would come up and give your business card. So we don't, it's a non, how do you say that? It's a,
non-salesy thing.
yeah, there's a term for that. Non-solicitation.
Okay, non-solicitation, yeah.
So you're not allowed to go and sell your business to a member. The point here is to really create a network of trusted individuals that are in situations similar to yours and building businesses and growing them. And also it's an environment where we tend to share a lot of learnings, either in businesses or in family or in friendship. We do a lot of events. There's a lot of events organized by different chapters. Like in February, we're going to Singapore. We're going to meet with some great speakers there. We're going to learn about leadership, about culture. There's events happening like every single week.
And as a member, you have to pay a fee, a monthly fee or something like that? Okay.
It's a yearly fee.
Yearly fee, okay.
Yeah. And each country has its own fee structure.
Mm-hmm.
And to enter, it's not just you pay, you come in, you have to go through a vetting system to make sure that you have the right profile. I mean, it's not a closed door, but we want to make sure that the members that are joining are coming for the right reasons. If you're here just to do a sales pitch and you're not interested in growing yourself or learning or being able to be vulnerable and speaking and sharing some of the challenges that you're going through. The whole point of EO is there's one element of EO is what we call forums. And these forums are every month are organized 3 hours to 4 hours. And the forum members meet together and have a strict pact of confidentiality. This is where we go through business topics, work topics, family topics, personal challenges that we go through. But we're not here to solve each other's problems. We're here to take that time to reflect before the meeting. And sometimes we need some advice, but you're not reaching for advice. You're actually speaking out loud. What are the challenges? And your coach in front of you is going to try to deep dive into why.
And how long have you been a member?
3 years now.
3 years. And I'm guessing you get a lot of value out of it and really like being a member.
Changed my life.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, even my team tells me that I've changed.
Yeah.
More calm, more clear,
Mhm.
less impulsive, more clarity.
Mhm.
And those are things that, I mean, in one of our companies, it says it big and wide on the wall.
Mhm.
We're here to grow.
Yeah.
And if we don't invest in ourselves to become better at what we do, then we fall behind. So I think this is, some would spend money on executive education or maybe a snorkeling trip or so on. I mean, I want to spend time to become a better me.
Yeah.
And this helps me by learning from others. It's not any other. These are, I mean, very successful business people or people that are just starting, but not a startup with selling cookies on the other side of the street. These are people doing $1 million plus businesses. In some cases, in some chapters, you need to be at least $10 million. So they're going through things that you think sometimes in the world as an entrepreneur, it's a bit lonely up there. You can't talk to your team about your problems all the time.
No.
You don't even can't talk to your wife about it. You can't talk to your friends because they're not in the same situation as you are, and they're sometimes employees and they don't get the problems we go through.
Yeah.
So that kind of system, that kind of and I'm going to use the word ecosystem, a kind of circle of members that helps you to get through that. Like, oh, okay, I'm not alone. I don't have that imposter syndrome of like, why am I keep failing on that? And you hear from others like, oh, okay, wow, doesn't make me feel better, but at least I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And I can get through it.
Why do you think so many of us struggle with imposter syndrome? But first of all, you have the first imposter syndrome. You think you're the only one who has it. Then you learn that no, everyone has imposter syndrome. Like example, I use. I don't know if you follow the Olympics, but there's a young lady named Suni Lee. She won like an Olympic gold medal for gymnastics 2020, and she won because somehow Biles didn't participate because she had her hurdles done right. And Suni Lee said like she didn't believe she deserved the gold medal because the other lady didn't participate. Like, what do you mean? You won the Olympic gold medal for Olympics. Doesn't matter who was there, who wasn't there, right? And it took like it took her like a year to finally get over the imposter syndrome. I'm like, man, if this Olympic gold medal has the imposter syndrome, like what hope do I have, right? So I think it's something I struggle with.
Yeah, I mean, when it's a muscle that you develop, and the beginning you're like, it's impossible for me. I mean, am I really good? I mean, the way people react, sometimes we overreact to signals.
Yeah, overreact,
Overreact, and
add stuff what they said. And did they really say that? No, they didn't say that exactly. You're adding words to it, and
that's right. That's right. So it's like meditation. It's always kind of being aware and saying, come on, Claude, why are you thinking like that? Come on, take that out. Let's keep moving. Let's focus. Those thoughts that you're having are not really helping. They're not constructive. They're pulling you down. Let's focus on creating value. Let's go back to the family. Let's spend some quality time. Or if there is something that's really bothering you, then let's write it down. Let's do some journaling. Let's talk about it maybe with my forum. But in many cases, I doubt. Doubt is normal. But I don't let it bring me down. It's going to be a half second. Maybe it could be a half day. Maybe it's 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, 10 minutes. But it goes down. And as you work that muscle of reminding yourself to be present, to make sure that you don't fall down, get into that rabbit hole of I'm an imposter. I'm really not good enough. Then you start moving into positive thinking. And that's a whole new ball game that I'm starting just to discover now when you get into that positive mindset.
So they say that you're the average of the 5 people around you, right? So how do you make sure you have the best 5 people possible around you?
I think I said that same quote last night, word for word. And I live through that quote a lot. And it goes again to I would feel guilty back then when I wouldn't be able to catch up and reach up with a lot of friends. But in my routine, for example, I spend a half an hour every morning to reach out to some old friends. That's not because I feel guilt and not being present with that friendship, but also I know that I really want to spend time, most of my time, with people that I look up to. And I'm still a yes man. I still unfortunately say yes to too many things, and that's something I'm working on. But I do want to, I try to say no and be selective on the people I want to meet, the people I want to hang out, the people I want to do business with, uh, because it sometimes the temptation of doing too much and meeting too many people brings down your attention. And I'm able now to say more no, to saying, look, or no. I say no to not following up with people that I don't think are bringing any value to my circle.
So how do you handle this, right? I'm totally making this up, right? Suppose you have someone you know, and like suppose like they ask you for something 5 times, right? And you do it, nothing too big, like 5 times you do something for them, like kind of minor stuff, whatever case may be, and you add value to them. But then you need something from them, and they say no. And then a week later they ask you for something else. Are you like, ain't no fucking way? I did something 5 times, you told me no the one time I needed you. Or do you like this, okay, value, 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 give, give, give.
So I enjoy giving. I enjoy giving probably more than receiving. Um, and I'll probably have buffer where, you know what, maybe he's busy. But um, at some point, if there's nothing coming back at all, I'll draw a line and say, okay, I see where this is the kind of relationship that we're having. I'm not expecting to get back, but I'm expecting at least some sort of appreciation or reaching out or saying, you know what, that helped a lot. And you can pretty much make a decision really fast. And where I'm really happy is I get calls from friends that we don't talk to in maybe 2 years or 1 year. And or I can make a phone call out of the blue 2 or 3 years later, and they'll answer the phone and they'll say, hey, Claude, how's it going? Like, what do you need? I got you. That's the kind of relationship we build. I called a friend yesterday. We didn't talk for maybe a year, and I needed a reference check on somebody that she might have worked with. Done. 5 minutes. She checked. Bing, bing, bing. It was done. She knows that I know I can count on her. She knows she can count on me. And I think, but we need to do the first step.
Yeah.
If you do the first step, you do it once, you're not expecting anything. And if he needs something, you come back. I rather give first and ask or push the envelope in giving first. If I see that there's a minimum courtesy of saying, you know what, thanks, appreciate that, boom, then let's continue that relationship and see how it goes.
So we're going to talk about your company in a deeper dive later on, but like you're the CEO of Rockhill Asia and RH1 and chairman and co-founder of
Ni Hao Ma.
so I'm guessing 2 separate companies. Can you talk about some about how you're like balancing like being leaders, a leader or director of 2 different companies and how that works? So like
So those are actually 3 different companies.
3 different companies, okay.
Yeah. So Rockhill Asia started 10 years ago. It started off as a business where I wanted my wife to have her own company when my 2 young daughters were born. I wanted her to keep busy, and she needed to be. I wanted to make sure that she didn't end up becoming a housewife. And I know that she wants that to be independent. And we started Rockhill as a company offering procurement outsourcing solutions. So basically, it's a company that helps retailers, worldwide retailers, big box retailers, manufacture, source, product development, quality control in Southeast Asia, mainly China and Vietnam. And 3 years ago, we launched a new company called Ni Hao Ma, which is a Mandarin learning edtech with offline and online teaching channels. And our third entity that started 2 years ago is called RH1, which is a company in the development of entertainment solutions, family entertainment solutions. Like in the US, we would have Dave and Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese. So we're bringing that kind of Western entertainment experience to Asia. So to answer your question, how do you mix those three different roles? There's a lot to do with discipline and planning. So I have my schedule organized by day per company, and I have one buffer day on Friday where I keep it kind of open depending on emergencies. It also requires to have a really, really strong leadership team. I know where I'm good at, and I know where I'm not good at. For each of these companies, there's a head of operations, which is really driving the day-to-day, which allows me to work on the strategy. So when we're working on when we're executing just at the beginning of 2025, we're already looking at 2026.
Yeah.
So that gives me a bit of that view ahead to make sure that I'm clearing the path so that we're already on 2025. I'm not going to say it's done, but the roadmap is clear. We still need to execute it. But what are we going to do for 2026? And those are the kind of the big thoughts that we have right now.
It's crazy how so many people don't do that, right? They're all like, you can't see the forest for the tree, something like that. Some people are so focused on day to day, they don't realize that you actually got to plan some stuff out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're in the grind, don't get me wrong, I'll deep dive all the way until, putting a work hat and getting stuff done and talking to customers and moving tires or, talking to teachers. And it's not like you're up there and you're never talking to anyone. No, you need to understand as well what's happening on the day-to-day business. But if you're part of the process, if you're part of the day-to-day, then you become a bottleneck. And if you become a bottleneck, how do you step out of that situation to be able to get a better view on what is the process, how things are working, how can you improve it? More importantly, how can we improve operations so that the team can work less, can work smarter, putting in more tools, working with new stakeholders, giving a chance to bring in partners that can help the team. And by helping the team, you create the culture where people want to work with you. They want to work longer with you. They're inspired. They're excited. They feel something is happening. If the team has to, deal with shit every day, who wants to work in that
no
environment?
one does, yeah.
So somebody needs to make sure that the bridge ahead is solid and that there's a clear runway, a nice path to work on.
For RH1, is the goal like have a bunch of games for kids to play, like video games or like?
So we set up, we have five projects under our belt so far.
Has any of these actually opened up yet?
All of them.
Okay.
All of them are operating.
Just here in Vietnam, across Southeast Asia.
Cambodia and Vietnam.
Okay.
Cambodia and Vietnam. We launched a year and a half ago the first indoor multi go-kart track in Asia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And one of a kind in a shopping mall with arcades. We brought some of the best in the industry from North America. Big brands like Coastal, Baytech. We work with American architects. We brought over French go-karts, the world leader on family go-karts, not professional go-karts. We have here in Vietnam, we operate a park which has a equestrian center, sport facilities, indoor outdoor go-kart track as well, the longest indoor outdoor hybrid track in Southeast Asia. So a lot of exceptional projects. We have more coming up in the region. We're in talks with some very large conglomerates in nearby countries. So a big shift in the retail landscape of how people are shopping or more, what are they doing during their free time? We talk a lot about how we used to go shopping and push that big metal cart. I don't think our children will be doing that anymore. I mean, it's so back in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
It's not relevant anymore.
No.
I think the new generation doesn't want to end up under neon lights going through shelves. They want to spend that time for more experience. So The malls themselves are changing their focus and not no longer on selling goods in the shopping mall, but more on food, more on experience, on entertainment, on special spending good time together.
So talk about this. Like, I think most people, they work a 9 to 5 job, and that's all they do. They can't do anything else, right? They're limited, right? But you were doing your 2 other jobs and decided to start this RH1, right? So I'm a big believer the more you do, the more you can do, right? Can you talk about that mindset? Like, the more you do, the more you can do.
Well, you started off asking how do I become a family
Mhm.
man? And if I mean there's just so many hours in a day. And as much as I would like to spend more time with the family, but I would like to spend more time with the company, every meeting that I have, every conversation I have is more and more to the minute. It needs to be quality and there has to be freaking decisions made and the ball needs to keep moving. So, I mean, I run from office to office. I'm in the taxi. I used to have a motorbike.
Mhm.
I'm selling it because I don't have the time to spend 30 minutes or 45 minutes on the bike to go from one place to the other. That's time that I'm going to spend in the Grab, on a call, working on emails. Um, but I'm not going to jeopardize my sports. I'm not going to jeopardize my family. So if that's not moving and that's a constraint, everything else in between, I got to be 200% focused and productive. And in order to do that, I need to be disciplined in giving the highest quality of direction to the team. If they know exactly where we're going, so that goes with the communication, it goes with the clarity of intent. If we're very precise on the direction, and that's where I'm focusing most of the time right now.
So let me ask you this: like, obviously, 3 different companies, right? But suppose you have I'll make this up, a deputy director of operations in one company, and you need a chief operations in another company. Do you transfer from one company to another company, or you specifically like keep hires in each company
Mm.
that makes sense?
Well, in some cases, yeah, I need to deep dive in some of the roles.
Mm,
So, in one of the companies, I'm taking over the commercial side
mm,
because we need help. We need help,
mm,
and uh, I need to understand what's not working.
mm,
I need to really get my hands into the data, understanding all the metrics behind the marketing, and see how I can give some direction to unblock some of the problems here. Um, and from there, we'll probably propose a new organization. At some point, some of the companies are shifting the way they used to work as a startup.
mm.
And where we're reaching a certain milestone, we need to rearrange the organization chart so it matches the growth of the company. After 3 years, the company started on year one and a company in year four. That organization chart has to change. And I do put on different hats at different stages of the company, but I do make sure that I don't end up as being part of the day-to-day operations. And if I have to take the role, I will. Um, um, One, maybe because we don't have the right person,
Mm.
or two, maybe there's a problem that I'm not understanding. I need to solve, and I need to get my hands into it.
So back for RH1, why Cambodia versus
So
Laos or somewhere else, or was this totally
it
random?
was, there's one word I learned in China after 8 years in Shanghai was the word guanxi. Guanxi means network. I think Chinese really got that notion of um, you're the average of the 5 people around you. That's intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually. All those 5 people bring you up, but also your network, the people that you know, also
Mm.
really have a huge impact on where you can go. And that Guangxi, Cambodia is part of a network opportunity where an ex-coworker, when working with Central Group, a large Thai conglomerate that moved to Vietnam, um, I was working with him back in 2019, and he moved to Cambodia to take on a CEO role of a big property developer. And while my time at Central, I was in charge of operations and working on entertainment solutions for Central Group in Vietnam. And he wanted to replicate that in Cambodia. So that was just beginning of COVID, right? There was no way I was going to leave to Cambodia. First of all, it was a bubble. We could not leave. If you left, you couldn't come back in. So I was not taking a risk. So I said, I'll help you out. We'll do this online. And it started with one project, and started with second one, third one, fourth one, and we're still going right now. We have a fifth project on the road, maybe a sixth one, probably in Q3, Q4. So it was an opportunity, but that particular customer is very visionary. I think they're probably even ahead of the curve of a lot of big retailers in the country, in the region, sorry. And they were brave to take that change, and it's paying off. I mean, they have some of the top entertainment facilities and solutions in Southeast Asia, sometimes even ahead of Singapore.
So what is the goal for RH1? To become the #1 entertainment company in the Southeast Asia, or like to do something else, or?
So RH1 is deemed to, at some point, would like to operate our own facilities. Today, we develop facilities for retailers. Today, we operate facilities for property developers. Down the road, we'd like to have our own franchise, which is across Southeast Asia.
Cool. Then next, can you talk some about Rockhill Asia?
Yeah. So Rockhill Asia is the procurement business. This is where we work with big box
Now,
retailers.
procurement is like logistics, right?
So procurement is your buying team.
Okay.
So let's say you're a Walmart and you have a big team of buyers by different product categories. You want to buy from China, you want to buy from India, you want to buy from Vietnam. These buyers are going to get in touch with factories here in the region. They're going to speak in English. We're going to have a lot of time zones and communication, not being on the ground. It's not easy to control or to communicate with factories and having a big headcount in North America or in Europe, and being effective. So same as when you're outsourcing tech, you're using developers, or you're having development teams in Vietnam. Why not hire US developers? Well, skill, some, and cost. So here's the same thing. So we have a team of merchandisers and quality controllers and logistics specialists that are working for big box retailers. Like you would do 3PL, third-party shipment. You would work with a third-party warehouse instead of using your own. It's the same. Same for staffing, same for accounting. In this particular part for procurement, which is the buying part, and factory control, factory management, factory relationship.
So when you say retail, does it mean like just clothing or shoes or everything?
So our categories that we focus the most are in furniture and home decoration. This is our forte. We spread out on categories such as tableware, fake flowers, candles, cookware, some pet toys, anything that you could find in a home store.
And you do business pretty much in every country in the world?
We have customers in US, Europe, and in Myanmar.
Okay. So I'm guessing import-export laws are different each country. Like, how do you like navigate like all the different import-export laws everywhere?
Well, we export mainly from China and Vietnam, and we ship to North America and Europe. So we have really two of the biggest markets. The rules and regulation are pretty straightforward. We have experience on knowing what are the requirements. There's a lot of information there. We do our due diligence before getting the products out, and we work with the customer as well to make sure that, look, these are what we see as requirements to ship to your country. I want to make sure that your company has maybe any other requirements. Do you want to do any additional tests? Do you want your manuals in any additional languages? Do you want any additional information on your care labels? Do you want to emphasize on additional wood requirements or any additional eco-friendly sustainability initiatives? Is there, so it's more of a top up, the baseline in order to ship out our factories that we work with, and our customers are pretty well aware. This is not the first time they do import export, but it's more about how can we create a bit more value to that particular product that we ship out.
So how does this work? I think a couple of years ago, I think in LA, when it's a big port in the States, there was like some kind of strike, right? So all these ships were backlogged.
Yeah.
So how does it, like, when it happens, like, is that on you to try to fix it? Is it on the coming to the States, or is that a combination? And because obviously that's out of anyone's control for the most part, right? When people
Yeah.
go on strike, how does that work?
Yeah, we work on, so there's different Incoterms. We work on an FOB basis. That means that our responsibility ends when the merchandise is on the boat from the departing port.
Okay.
The customer will take
So
responsibility.
once it leaves the port in Vietnam, then you're like kind of like,
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So we hand over our documents. You have, we hand over. We have a packing list. We have a commercial invoice. We have all the custom clearance documents. Based on that, our job is over.
okay.
Quality control has been done. Quantities are there. Payment has been received. We're good to go. Some customers or some clients would work on CIF, meaning that the merchandise has to be delivered to the port, and that's another issue. But we had the same situation where the Houthis in the Middle East
Yeah, I
were
remember that.
attacking.
Yeah. All the pirates and stuff.
Yeah, so that shipment leaving from Vietnam had to go through Cape Town. But it was really like it was extending by another maybe 20 days. Nobody's really responsible, right? And I think customers understand that. And if they were to penalize for geopolitical situations, I think it wouldn't be fair. And those are customers that we wouldn't want to work with anyway.
So how long has Rockhill Asia been around?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, you're never happy with where you're at. You always want to grow faster, be better. But are you pretty much happy where the company is right now, like as far as growth and how it's come from the beginning?
Never happy.
Yeah.
Never happy. There's always more work to be done. We have a very ambitious 2025 plan. We've been through a lot of hardship over the past 3 years, a lot of structuring, a lot of investment, building the teams, building the systems. I mean, there's one company that's been running for 10 years. That one's doing very well. But the two new ones, there's a lot of effort and sweat and tears that have to be in lifting those two up. But looking back, I mean, we're very grateful on where Ni Hao Ma is, for example. We really have a large base of customers today. We have a good reputation. But again, a lot of opportunities to do much better. RH1, here again, a lot of challenges, tremendous. But I mean, again, we developed 5 unbelievable projects in the past 3 years. And there's so much more to come. And we're continuing to invest on tools and systems as well. So I think my reflection and my thoughts to that is sometimes it's good to slow down a bit. But then you also know that if speed is
If
everything.
you slow down, you lose momentum.
Speed is everything. So you have to kind of play with the throttle because the team can't take on so much, I mean, heavy pushing. Either you invest in better teams or more tools. You add headcount, you add systems, but you need to train the people to go on the system. So that takes a lot of effort. So all this, it's really navigating and fine-tuning the path as we go about we want results, but we got to maintain the team. We have to help them to get the right tools to be more efficient, to not work crazy hours. They need life. They need a good life as well. They need to be happy. How can we make sure that they have the right environment to come in the morning? If I tell my team, if you guys wake up one morning and don't want to come to the office, then I'm not doing a good job. We need to make sure that they're smiling, they're happy, because they represent our company to the customers.
So how do you handle this, right? Let's suppose at any one of your companies, like, and suppose you notice that one of your teams like is kind of struggling with something, right? Do you like get personally involved with it, or you just let them figure it out on their own, or something like a combination?
Depends where we are in the organization. I don't want to micromanage, and I will definitely give time to whoever the head of operations or the person in charge of that department to work and to propose some solutions. If at some point after that there are no results, then I will need to get involved because it needs to be fixed.
So for your three companies, like, do you have I'll make this up again. Like, do you have like one person assistant, one chief of staff, all three companies, or does each company have like a executive assistant, like chief of staff each company?
Yeah. So we established last year a group team. So this is part of Rockhill Group, RH Group, RHG, where we have our group HR, and she will see all the human resource executives in each company. I have a group financial controller who is overseeing the different accounting teams and the three entities as well. And we have our group strategy and business development. So she will be helping me on driving those plans and working on the new customer, the new partners, the new relationships that we're building, while at the same time being with me on strategic and maybe, let's say, task force that we need to go on to solve periodical challenges, or where we need to deep dive because the team needs help. So that's where the whole group team will jump in, and we'll make some noise. We'll come in, we'll reorganize, we'll get some weekly meetings in, some task force meetings, and pull the shit back up if we have to. And then they go back to their role of building infrastructure, building great performance appraisal systems, building a good culture where people have a great career path and they know what they need to do in order to reach that particular career objective, building tools for the team that allow the staff to express their feelings, proper SOPs for one-on-ones, allowing them to express their challenges and where they want to go in a career. Same on the finance side, standardizing our P&Ls, making sure that we have the same tools to build our budgets, working on our KPI templates, on our reporting systems, on our accounting tools, so that we systemize our HR system. Is the team just integrated the same system across the three companies, which makes the life of everyone easier, especially for the HRs. We're not dealing with three different systems.
Yeah.
Same for finance. So it's all about making it easy for the team to do a better job, to do repetitive tasks. AI is a big topic that we want to get into. We're looking into hiring a specialist of AI. That's a new role, right? I mean, you would never think about hiring an AI specialist in any company.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
No.
But now with all the automations coming in and all these, we're educating a whole group of people. Even 6 months ago, I was having a conversation with one of the guys, one of our sales guy, and he came out with his piece of paper out of a meeting, and I was like, wow, what are you going to do now? Well, it was 6:30. I'm going to go back home and I'll send him an email tomorrow. I was like, wow, if you used Firefly, you would have recorded that meeting on the spot. You would have the meeting minutes done. You would have probably sent him the meeting minutes before he reached home. Now what's going to happen, you're going to go back to the office tomorrow. You're going to probably miss half of the conversation with him. You're going to maybe send him an email tomorrow afternoon with half of the content missing. You're wasting a lot of time, a lot of energy. You're going to write it all down.
Yeah.
So
there's so many programs out there. Otter AI, you can do it on Zoom. There's so many programs.
I mean, I can't keep up.
No.
I can't keep up, and we're trying. I have a great friend of mine who's a specialist in AI automations, and he set up a tool for me, which is using make.com. Is it make.com? Anyway, it's a tool that allows you to make automations from a Firefly, it creates a memo, and then from the memo, it sends it to by email, and then it could create your task in a planner. It could help you in the interviewing process. We're having access to tools that are really going to help us to simplify the day-to-day job of the team. They shouldn't be filling in Excel files. They shouldn't be spending time writing too long messages. Every minute counts, and it goes back to what we were talking earlier. It's speed. It's all about speed.
So do you see a day, speaking of AI and future stuff, do you see a day where AI robots do all the shipping work, like loading docks up and like doing all that kind of stuff?
I mean, we're not involved in loading the docks, but probably yes.
Mhm.
I mean, when you see what Amazon is doing in their warehouses, I wouldn't be surprised where boats cannot ship by themselves.
Yeah.
But on our side, I think it wouldn't be on the labor side. It would be more on the speed of analytics
Hmm.
and being able to digest more information faster. So I'll give you an example. Let's say QC reports. If we could have a system that allows us to go through all the photos and to be able to send a report automatically to the clients, that's quality, that's service, that where the customer will receive faster with less headcount. I don't need to have 10 people doing that. We would have probably 1 or 2 people, but just making sure the information is formatted right, and we could send out faster updates to customers on where their production is, and highlight more potential issues or risks, and just being more in control.
So I think a lot of people in the world, they're like, I've always done it this way. I don't care about new AI, new tech. It's worked for me. I've made this. Why are you so open, like new possibilities, experimenting and trying to do more things?
Because I see how it it helps everyone. It helps the team. And if you have that in your culture of a company of growing and learning, I'm very passionate about it. It's one of my what I look forward to every day is, what am I going to learn? How can I work smarter? How can I be a bit lazy? I mean, I want to spend more time with my family or do more sports. How can I cut that time instead of typing messages and emails? How can I be more effective? So if we have that culture in the company, I think it's people start to see like, wow, how'd you do that? How are you so effective? Well, I'm using the tools. I'm using the freaking tools available. I'm curious. I want to see how Lark works. Like a friend of mine sent a message on a group chat, like, I've been using Lark. The first thing I do, I'm gonna go and check it out. I checked the video, like, what is this Lark? Yeah, I mean, looks pretty similar to Outlook, but maybe I don't get it yet. I need to do a bit more research. I want to be, I want to make sure that I master some of the best tools out there, so that I can then kind of share it as well with the team, and they can be more efficient.
Talk about the importance of like, it seems to me like you have a learning culture at all three companies. They talk about the importance of having a learning culture at your companies.
So, um, in our KPIs, every team member is responsible of teaching their peer. Everyone has something to teach, and everybody's eager to learn. So we encourage the team members to share about their particular department. And these departments and these trainings are reviewed by the rest of the company. So it's not just one of these like, I'm going to tell you about HR. We're going to talk about your pay slip. It's good. But if there's no room for feedback, then it's just another presentation. So everybody will get feedback on how their presentation went. So it allows everyone to be a bit more intentional in making sure that um, they're going to get a good score. You want to come out with a 5 out of 5. So people present them and prepare them well. And it's a great area as well to work on your public speaking, to be able to have confidence in speaking to others in English, sometimes in Vietnamese when there's no foreign staff. Um, but in our each year 2025 plan, training, learning, be it for sports, be it for tools, be it for interdepartment specific skills, there will be a part of that, because the number one feedback that we get from our teams are they want to learn.
Mm.
They if they're coming into a job and they're not learning, they're going to leave. And nobody's going to stay forever. But if you can have 3-4 year experience, and instead of 6 months, 1 year, 1 year turnover, it breaks a company culture. And these trips that we do together, these souvenirs that we build, there's always room to learn. They never stopped. If I'm still learning at 44, I mean, these guys, if they're in their 20s and their 30s, they can keep on going as well. We just need to talk to them and to hear, what do you want? And if I can share with them, look, I'm using this Firefly thing. You want to try it? Yeah. I mean, I would love to have my meeting minutes done. And they're using it in between each other and they love it. Well, we use Planner. Like, well, it's Planner. Like, look, and now I don't need to ask you. And you need to ask them, because it's all there. We all sharing what we're doing and we have our timeline. I don't need to say, where are we on that report? It's on the Planner.
Remember this meme from a few years ago? I think it was on LinkedIn, Facebook, and the meme was like so this employee asked for some money to do some training, right? And the CEO was like, well, what if I pay for this training, he leaves? And the CFO said, what if you don't pay and he stays? You know, so I think he had the right mentality, right? Like everyone's gonna leave eventually, right? But
That's
what
right.
can you do to add to their value to your company, I think, you know?
And it's, if you have the good intention, you know you're doing good. I mean, I taught my wife is the CEO of Rockhill Asia. So, and our greatest joy is to see how people grow within the organization. We talk about, like, you see how she changed. You see how she's evolved, how mature she is. People talk about it, even between the teams. Like, oh yeah, she's so she's changed so much. Her friends, even on one-on-ones, they will say, yeah, my friends tell me I've changed a lot. And they're happy. They're happy. They feel pride. And that's, you can't get that in just about compensation. You can get the best pay, but if you feel like shit or you're not valued, why you want to stay there? So, I mean, we take great pride in seeing team grow at every single level, be it young from, and we hire a lot of interns. We like to start from, grass up, and some are just like diamonds. Like you would never believe how they can be so hardworking, so disciplined, so mature at 22, at 23. I mean, we talk about Vietnam, but Vietnamese women in this country, they are so hardworking. They hold this country.
So one of my pet peeves has always been like, you know, it seems like a lot of business owners, like the employee leaves, they badmouth the employee. Oh, Jason's disloyal. I did this for him. Why is he leaving me? That's some bullshit, right? But my thing is like, if your employee leaves you for a better job, you should be proud of yourself, right? Because that person got a better job because you train them up, you taught them the skills, and now they provide a better life for themselves and their family because you invested in them, right? I think it's a good thing when people leave for a better job.
No,
I think so many owners, especially in the States, badmouth employees. Oh, Jason left. How could you do this for me? Like, I got a better job, you know? I never understood that mindset from people.
yeah, I mean, I agree. I think if you're trying to hold back people, it should be a celebration. I saw one time one company having a celebration party for somebody leaving. It's the right way. It's the right way. I mean, congratulate them. I'm still in touch with team members 20 years ago. Why do you want to destroy
I
a
think all the goodwill
relationship?
that person is going to do for your company, right? It's like you have a free brand ambassador for life.
That's right. If you do good, you get good. So just take care of the people, do the right thing, treat people like you, how you want to be treated. Give them appreciation, show them that they have value. Everybody has value. Nobody has a dark mind. Nobody wants to do harm. And if you have that right environment, there are always some people that will, maybe because of their background, how they grew up, their influence, that circle of five that they had, maybe they have bad intentions, but you don't want to let them in. And you do that over the recruitment process. But if you know that this person has the attitude and knows that this person has the intention to grow and to be a good employee and is really to put in the hours, you're good. The skill will come later. The skill will come later.
Yeah.
I had this her name is Ken. Um, young intern. She comes in. Fiona was doing the interview. I walk in. She says, "Hi, I came in for an internship." I ask her, "What do you want from us?" And she said, "Well, I wanna grow. I really want to learn. I wanna get the best practices. I want to see what I can deliver. I want to show that I'm capable." So, okay, you're in. That's it. I don't need more. If you have the willingness to put it in and to get out there, and she's been amazing.
Yeah, that's another pet peeve of mine. Like, do you really need 10 fucking interviews to hire someone? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like,
And
get out of here.
it's the same thing for giving a raise.
Yeah.
Do you need to wait a year to give a raise?
Oh,
Do you need to wait for the person to come and ask you and say, "Oh, by the way,
I hate that
boss,"
shit.
right?
I didn't give Tom a raise. He didn't ask me one. Are you kidding me, right?
You don't.
Seriously?
It's like you're shooting yourself in the
Yeah.
shoe. The person is doing a good job, then promote right away.
Yeah.
Don't wait. It's like hire fast, but take your time to promote.
Yeah.
What is that? Promote as fast as you can. I mean, obviously you don't want to promote every month,
Yeah.
but if the person is really kicking ass, give
Yeah.
a bonus. Or if the person is showing unbelievable commitment, don't wait for the
Yeah.
probation coming
Yeah.
up.
I mean, obviously, you don't give someone a raise because they come to work on time every day, but
Yeah, yeah. So if the person is having a 1-year contract in November and you're in August, if you're happy, then let's do it now.
yeah.
It shows that you're not calculative. You're not like counting your pennies, and you gotta give if you want to give.
Yeah, that's so true.
You gotta give if you want to give.
So for the language school, is there like a target age y'all going after, like 5 to 8 year olds or?
So we started off as a very wide, and we started off for our children. My wife is Chinese, and our 3 daughters, we've been struggling to find quality Mandarin learning in Asia. There's a lot of mom and pop shops.
And you speak Mandarin, I'm guessing?
I get around. I get around, but
good enough.
The goal was when I was in China, I could negotiate with factories.
Okay.
But the goal here was really for our children to equip them with a third language.
And are they learning Vietnamese also since they're in Vietnam?
So English, French, and Chinese.
Okay.
Trilingual. And we started off with a very wide age group. Because we thought that if we're in a country that you don't speak the language, you need to make sure that you have consistency. If the school finishes at 12, my 17-year-old, what happens? She can't learn anymore. So if you only do 4 to 12, or what happens to the older kids? What happens when they are 13? So we wanted to cater a wide age group. We've realized last year that we need to be a bit more decisive on our target market. And now we're shifting for our offline centers. We have an offline down the road in front of BIS, over 2 floors, 800 square meters. It's probably one of the best located, good-looking centers in Taoyuan. And this is catering for young age, so from 4 to 12. That's where parents need the kids to be with a physical teacher, with a real person, in-person learning. And then we're shifting our online for teens and adults, where teens want flexibility. They want to be on the move. Parents don't want to go into commute, or adult students, they want to go into commuting. They want flexibility. They want to learn on their phone. They want to see your teacher from China teaching you, or Taiwan teaching you Mandarin in the palm of your hand. So we're shifting our target market based on the medium. And that's where we are today. Yeah.
Okay. So from your point of view, is doing business in Vietnam, Southeast Asia different from doing business like in Europe, United States, or another part of the world, or is business?
Well, I'll tell you frankly, I haven't done business. I haven't worked in France or in the US. I've been, my whole career has been in Asia. So 8 years in China, 4 years in Indonesia, and 8 years over here.
So tell a story. So what part of the States are you from?
Florida.
So how did a quote unquote Florida man end up in China? Can you tell that story?
So I grew up in Florida. My father was in the restaurant business. We moved to Louisiana. He got into the horse business, moved to New Jersey. And at the age of 10, I moved to France. And then I moved back to the US for my university studies. I was living in Hawaii. I was trying to be as far as possible from my parents because they would ask me to come back and work on weekends. So if I said, if I can be on the opposite side of the world, they won't try to bring me over to work at one of their restaurants. But yeah, just curious about Asia. Always intrigued about Hong Kong and Japan, Taiwan. I had an opportunity to visit one of my father's friends in Shanghai. I was knocking on doors in my last year of university. I was in Shanghai and trying to give CVs, resumes to hook a job. The guy who welcomed me in Shanghai offered me a job, and I had a choice between MasterCard in New York or this apparel garment manufacturing trading company in Shanghai. I said I give it a go, and it was probably one of the best decisions I made.
And that's where you met your wife at?
And that's where I met my wife as well. But 2005 in Shanghai, it was like you would just bend over, and cash was right there. I mean, it was nothing was impossible. I mean, well, foreigners were very welcome, were appreciated. There was still nothing. You would go on road trips in Zhejiang and Jiangsu province. There was just KFC as the only foreign food. The roads were still being built. I still remember these 8x8 highways. Like I was thinking, what the hell are they trying to do here? Why are they building so big? They were just so visionary at that time. But yeah, so much fun. And Shanghai in those years was, you would say to people, I mean, I live in Shanghai, and like their eyes would pop
Well,
out.
you might
Like,
also say you're living on Mars, right?
yeah. So they were like so amazed, and they were always impressed, because it was fascinating, everything that was happening down there. Well, things have changed a lot since.
So this is a question of ignorance, but like you see on the TV or the news, all the high tech stuff in China, like trains going through buildings and stuff. Is all that shit really real, or like is it that advanced high tech there?
It's really,
Yeah.
it's for real.
Okay.
It's very, very advanced. I mean, you don't have cash. You don't use paper money. You don't use cards. Everything is centralized. The subway station. I mean, we just got our first subway line 3 weeks ago
And
here in Ho Chi
it goes
Minh.
like maybe 5 miles or something like
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
the number of lines that they have in in Shanghai or any other city in China. No, this is real. I mean, they're really there. I think,
Yeah.
and even more there than we think.
Yeah.
Because those little snippets of videos that we see, there's much more to the eye that we can't see.
So you mentioned this earlier. You talk about being curious. Talk about the points of being curious.
Curious about
Anything, life in general, learning new things, just being curious as a lifestyle, so to speak.
Well, I'm not sure. I think I just like to, when time allows, to try new hacks, to be able to get more out of the day. And that curiosity comes from, you know, finding new tools, finding new hobbies, trying new things. But yeah, curiosity is yeah, I'm not sure what else to say.
Okay. So you have like a pretty diverse background, a lot of multicultural experiences.
Yeah.
How has that helped you be a better person, better businessman?
Well, I noticed in when working with different cultures, Indonesians, Vietnamese, Chinese, Thais, Cambodians, having American, French, Chinese, understanding all these different nuances. Cambodian will be very different to work with than a Vietnamese. and the style also with an Indonesian. Um, I think it's helped me to be a bit more patient with people and trying to read and understand why are they doing that, or why are they understanding a specific message or point or email, or how would they talk to a particular customer, how do they react in a situation of stress. So the character and the response of a person really is defined by their culture. And being able to read and understand helps me to manage them better, and also to reach their expectations. What are they expecting from the company? How do they want to be treated? What ticks? What is important for them? And I think there's a lot to learn from Asia that can be applied in North America. And having that patience to read people, having that sense of understanding, and if I was fresh off the boat from Florida and coming here, I'm not sure I could be as effective now as if I was 20 years ago. That 20 years of experience accumulates, and it takes a lot of practice, and managing in this environment is time over time. You fine tune the process. You see what ticks. And again, 20 years, the people from 20 years ago, the young team of 20 years ago isn't the same as today. So as you're adjusting to culture, you're also adjusting to a generation. So it's a matrix at the end. So your cultural shift, your cultural understanding of the people is never fixed. You're always kind of fine tuning the new generation. If I would be managing the Vietnamese team here, the young team, the same way as I would be managing the Shanghai team in 2005, it would be a disaster. Because in 2005 in China, nobody cared about work-life balance or work from home Friday. They wanted moolah. They wanted cash. That was the only, and don't get me wrong, here they want money too. But they want not just money. They want to also have
You want to enjoy life.
good life. In China, it was just about making it happen. It was a sacrifice of a generation, no matter what. But there was a lot of integrity issues as well. A lot of integrity issues in China. Whereas here, I think we're a bit more careful on who we bring in. Not saying we're perfect, but I think now because the core team is so strong, we're able to have each other's back. And it's not only my eye, but it's the eye of the core team and the head of departments that they know this person, we have maybe a bad apple that we need to take care of.
And you say you go back to the States once a year?
Yeah.
Is it like a business, personal vacation combination? Like you take your family with you?
No, I go by myself. I go to this convention every year in Orlando called IAPA. And I take some time to see some family. I drive down to South Florida. I end up in Deerfield. I go to my favorite place and have some nice short ribs and a nice cold beer.
How often do you have family and friends visit you over here?
Quite often. We have at least, let's say, three visits per year from family from the U.S. or from France. And it's always nice. We're really grateful to have friends visiting. It's always amazing to see, give them a chance to see what we're living. Not everybody's into it. I mean, it's a lifestyle, right? It's not for everyone. And don't get me wrong, I think at some point maybe I'll be tired of the chaos. I think as you get older, you kind of want to go back to your roots, or you want to balance it off a bit. It takes a lot of energy out of you. all this
Yeah, it's a lot.
buzz, all
It's a
this
lot. Yeah,
noise,
24-hour
all
buzz. Yeah, it's something.
24 hours. I mean,
The energy is everywhere. Yeah,
it's exciting.
but you still got to sleep,
It's
right?
invigorating,
Yeah,
but at the end, also sometimes you just want to, go for a walk in the
nice park.
forest or in a park or just, sit down next to the beach. And where are you from?
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's suppose someone comes here to visit you for the first time, a family, friend, or whatever, you know them for a while.
Yeah.
They came for the first time. What are you taking them to go see?
So our traditional route, I tell them to come for at least 2 weeks. They would land on a Saturday or Sunday, show them around Ho Chi Minh, D1. And then we work during the weekday. So either they do some visiting on Monday or Tuesday, but I try to put them on a flight to go up to Hanoi to walk around Hanoi. And then we meet them on the second weekend in Da Nang. I like to show them around Da Nang. We go down Hoi An. If they want, they can go and visit Hue, bring them to Bana Hill. And then they would continue maybe a few more days along the beach, and then they come back to Ho Chi Minh, continue to visit around Ho Chi Minh, Chu Chi, or they can go to Mekong. They can take the boat to Vung Tau. They can do some museums, and then we'll do a the third weekend together. And most of the time they'll fly out, on a Saturday or Sunday.
So you got on tour guide thing.
I have my freaking Excel file ready. I can copy and paste it, and I got the hotels listed. I got the kind of itinerary rolled out. You have an option of Halong Bay if you want to go, depending on how many days. So yeah, and I'll get them sorted with a local travel agent I have here. So it's really easy if they're a family of 5. Give me the passports, and I'll book all the flights. Tell me your budget. I'll get them a SIM card here. And then off you go. Yeah.
If you had to pick like one tourist thing for someone to do, like they can only do one tourist thing, what would it be? Was it like Da Nang or Ho Chi Minh City or like Halong Bay or
I like Hoi An a lot.
Yeah.
I like Hoi An a lot.
That's up in North Vietnam.
It's in the center.
Okay. What are they known for?
It's a 45-minute ride from Da Nang. It's a UNESCO heritage city, town, not a city, a town. Beautiful with lanterns in the evening. The danger with these places is the more it goes and the more touristic it gets and the more less authentic it is. That's my favorite place so far. Then if it wasn't for a family and if it was a bunch of guys, I would go on a bike trip, motorbike trip into the highlands, north of Dalat. I would ride through Pleiku, through Bon Matut, going up the old Ho Chi Minh Trail behind Da Nang. That's a 1,000-kilometer ride. Just amazing. I rediscovered Vietnam on that trip 3 years ago. And yeah, it's a great place if you're a biker to visit the country.
And you've been here, I think you said 10 years?
In
Vietnam,
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
So what's something about Vietnam that you wish like the rest of the world like knew?
Say it again?
What's something about Vietnam you wish the rest of the world knew about?
I think that people, if they need to know that Vietnam is not one country. It's there's really a strong, I think it should be required for anybody to live in Vietnam to understand the history of the country that they're living in. I think that should be a prerequisite. If you want to better understand the people, you need to understand where they're coming from. And I saw a series called the Vietnam War on Netflix. I think it was a 8 episodes of maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours. It was 10 hours in total. It went from the beginning all the way until where we are today. And I learned a lot. I mean, and a lot of things like, okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
This makes sense. Now I understand why he is like that, why she's doing this. I understand what the food is about. I understand what the dress, if you cannot connect, if you're coming to a country and you want to be, you're a guest, they're accepting you to work in that country. There has to be an effort. I'm not saying you have to learn the language, but you need to understand their history. And that's what I would recommend. If somebody really wants to get into Vietnam, understand it before traveling, learn about the place, read about it, get a sense of what this country went through and how it got here.
Yeah, one thing I don't know if Vietnam gets enough credit because, like, of course, the since you're fighting the Chinese back and forth,
Mm.
but the fact that basically they defeated the French in the 50s, defeated America in the 70s. I don't know if they get enough credit for defeating like two, Western powers, so to speak, right? I don't know if they definitely get enough credit for that,
Yeah, yeah. And you kind of look into who actually did the job. Is it the guys or is it the women?
Yeah.
And you see the importance of the woman in this country. And yeah, pretty impressive.
So let's fast forward to say December 1st, 2025.
Yeah.
What has to happen through the 2025 for you to say, okay, 2025 was a success for me, whether personally, professionally, business wise? When did it happen through 2020 for you to say, okay, this was a damn good year for us?
Um, so we have a lot of in each company we have quite a few big milestones. We're going to be opening our new legal entity in the US to accelerate our growth over there. We have another round of fundraising for Ni Hao Ma. So that's going to be a exciting moment. On the entertainment side, we're looking at opening one of our own venues pretty much soon. So those are the three big ones in terms of, let's say, projects. And then I'd like to have a really, really big celebration at the end of 2025 with all the teams having a proper outing. We didn't get a chance to do it this year because of time, because of budget. But I'd really like to give back to the team and giving a chance to do a good celebration and celebrate our 2025 results. So winning and celebrating. I'm looking forward to the celebration.
So for all three companies, like how many people you have working for you? Like how many employees you have in all the companies combined?
We'll be close to 200.
200. And you like try to have some kind of personal relationship with all of them. Of course, you can't have a close relationship with everyone. You have like, I don't know, like it's like sending happy birthday message to everyone. Like how do you like kind of maintain like direct relationship with everyone as best you can? Or you just, okay, my relationship was like my supervisors and the supervisors have a relationship with the people below them or.
So I try to have a close relationship with all my N-1s. Um, and I also try to, when time allows, to get to know a bit more. But it's during these company events that we get a chance to mingle a bit more. And that's where I feel a bit frustrated that last year we didn't get a chance to do much. I feel that we lost an opportunity to connect a bit further. We have our task force, or what we call our L10 meetings, which is the top 10 or top leaders of each organization, which is a bit larger than the N-1s. So here is a good opportunity to connect, to meet with them, to sit down. And it's part of that monthly planning, like, okay, who can I meet from my N-2 this month? Somebody that I haven't talked to, get a chance to chit chat, to catch up, to hear from the ground what's really happening. Am I missing something? Just to get a chance to do a temperature check on how things are going a bit below.
So I'll make this up. Like I'm presuming you have some kind of priority list, right? Please have a priority list, or let's say there's 75 things on there, right? And you knock out 1 through 10, but let's suppose, of course they move up and down, but suppose there's something that has always been number 70. Last 3 months is number 70, hasn't moved. You like, okay, obviously it's not important to me, let me take it off or delegate it, or you like keep it on there until you get rid of it?
I'll keep it.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time to I'll keep it, because if I wrote it there, I mean, it was
There's a
important.
reason, right?
Unless it's no longer relevant,
Okay.
and it's been on the bottom of the list for so long that that thing is no longer an issue. But I'll try to go back on it. And but it's funny, we talk about tools, and I'm still trying to to work around what is the perfect tool to be able to manage all these.
And sometimes there's so many tools, right? So many like there's Apollo clothes, there's all this stuff, and like who has time to research it, right?
And you got your Evernotes, and then your Google Keep, and then you got your notes on your Microsoft to-do list, and then you
Yeah.
have your planner, and like you try to consolidate all that, and then you have your remarkable, you like to write down
Mhm.
things. Yeah, so I still haven't found a good system yet that allows me to track
Mhm.
a bit more on the task, because I'll be texting someone and I'm gonna have like three things I need to do when when I'm texting them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I forgot to send a message, Happy New Year to him, and
Mhm.
oh, did I follow up on my daughter's internship? And like I haven't even finished. Like I need
Yeah.
to put myself a reminder
Yeah.
on those three things. But
Same here. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I was kind of wondering if those AI kind of
Mhm.
pins that they have,
Yeah.
how, I mean, I'm very curious. So you're going back on curiosity. I'm curious about how
Yeah.
this AI will kind of expand our mind and
Mhm.
how we can remember and organize all these things that we want to do, so that we can be a bit more like, this is urgent. I need to get this
Yeah.
done like this week. And oh, you forgot to follow up with this. Having it's like a personal assistant, but
Mhm.
I mean, I can't. I'm when I'm typing a message to my friend or to a customer, I can't call my
Yeah.
assistant to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
remind me on these three
Yeah.
things.
Happens to me all
So
the
what's
time.
the
Yeah.
tool
Yeah.
that
If you
allows
stop doing this and go to something else, you forget what you're doing.
bingo? So I still haven't cracked the code on
Yeah.
that. And I'm very curious, again, to go back on curiosity, how that if so you talk about the bottom on the list, I think that would be on my top
Mhm.
list on how can I make sure that I can tackle as many tasks in a day and get them out of the way so I can do more.
Yeah. So what's this? You do some. I think I'm going to say the name wrong. Goatman Company, you business broker there.
Yeah, I used to, and this is on and off. Godesman is it's a merger and acquisition firm out of New York where we help we help U.S. companies to find companies in Asia, or we help Asian companies to buy
Mhm.
U.S. companies.
Mhm.
A bit of a part-time thing.
So you're like, I have like 30 minutes extra every day. Let me fill it up.
I that one I'm not very active at all.
No, okay,
No, no.
that's funny. So how is like the VC investment culture here in Vietnam or Southeast Asia?
Um, so I was very interested about it in 2021, 2022. Put a lot of effort in working that kind of VC
Mhm.
environment. Um, it's very active. I
Mhm.
think it was at its peak in 1920. I
Mhm.
didn't know too much about it. I didn't
Mhm.
research about it back then. Um, but I feel that it's maybe kind of fading off a little bit. It feels like cash is not that easy to disperse
Mhm.
anymore. The LPs are a bit more cautious.
Mhm.
And it seems that this whole VC environment hasn't had a lot of good publicity.
Yeah.
It feels that there's a lot of talks, but not much action going behind. So as an entrepreneur, it's very rational.
Mhm.
It's go no go.
Mhm.
We move, we don't
Yeah.
move. At some point, I moved away personally from the VC
Mhm.
environment. Not that I'm not talking, but it's no longer on my focus list.
And all your companies are all bootstrapped.
Bootstrapped,
Okay.
yes. Everything is bootstrapped. We have one angel investor
Mhm.
on our Ni Hao Ma, on the
Mhm.
language business. Um, but yeah, the VC environment seems to be active. It seems that there's a lot of new players coming
Mhm.
up as well. Difficult to read
Mhm.
what's real, what's not
Yeah.
real. There's a lot of storytelling behind it, so you kind of feel like it's a big player, but at the end you realize There's
Yeah.
nothing much behind it.
Yeah, one thing I've learned doing my tech startups, like if someone on LinkedIn has angel investor, odds are they haven't done any angel investing. If or they have, like did one maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a painful
Yep.
lesson I learned back
Yeah.
in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I mean, the learning was amazing. I mean, got a chance to meet, to talk, to see what kind of questions they ask. Got a chance to work on our data rooms, on preparing the decks, all that information, all the metrics that they ask, all the CACs, the LTVs, um, all this information, getting a bit more clarity and in our message and where we want to go. That has helped a lot. But yeah, that's where we are on the VC world here.
So obviously you're an entrepreneur. You're around a lot of entrepreneurs. What do you think what kind of characteristics do you think make a good entrepreneur versus a bad entrepreneur? That it's like drive, focus, grit. Of course, I think you have to have some kind of smarts, I guess, but it's like a universal characteristic.
Well, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're already in an entrepreneur, you have that resilience. You have that grit. You want to prove that you to yourself, and you see that there's a problem to solve. I feel that it's the eternal unsatisfied feeling of it's not good enough. I think we can do better. Are we at the level of excellency? Is there ever a time where you can say, this is good enough? I think we did it. We're done. That never happens.
No.
And so in a sad way, it's like you're running after something endlessly. But it's the thrill to see the long tail strategy and see things grow and see people grow with it. And then we go back to people again. I think successful, I'm not qualifying myself as successful, but the ones that inspire me are the ones that I feel really are able to speak the truth and be straightforward and are caring about their team. They show a lot of empathy. I really feel about empathy. I really feel about people who want to do good and are not afraid of giving in order to get. So that's my take on what characterizes a great entrepreneur.
And so we talked earlier about, like you travel, you run, you do pickleball, you like do other things. But it was like, do you have like a guilty pleasure? Like one thing you just love doing by yourself, like kind of like spend time by yourself for them maybe.
I love my morning run listening to my audiobooks.
Okay.
That's my péché mignon.
Okay.
That's my thing where, my 30 minutes, I come out of that run, I'm sweating, I feel good. I'll do a session of push-ups and I'll listen to these great speakers. My last one was Daniel Meyer, I think, from Unreasonable Hospitality. Great book. I have a lot of my audiobook on my Audible that I'm excited to listen to. But it's a double whammy, right? It's you're doing physical exercise and you're kind of learning or listening to stuff, and it just makes your mind that amount of dopamine I get after that, it fuels me throughout the day.
So you said you wake up at 4 or 5. What time do you go to bed at night?
So lights off 8:39.
Yeah. So a lot of people they think, oh man, you wake up so early. How do you do it? No, well, I'm not.
I go to bed early.
Yeah, I'm not waking. I'm not staying for midnight at 1 in the morning.
If I don't have my 7 hours,
Yeah. So that's your thing.
Seven.
You call it
Yeah. If I'm not down at 9, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. So do you have people that you consider mentors to you?
Not like real mentors. It's people I look up to, people that inspire me about what they did, how they achieve where they are. Someone I look up to, I think is actually Cedric's father, that you interviewed not too long ago. I really like how purposeful he is, how caring he is about his family, about how he turns his life and how he managed his lifestyle. I um I feel that he's very generous. He's caring, and I try to learn
Yeah.
from people like that I inspire from.
And are you mentoring anyone right now?
I mentor my team.
Okay.
I mentor a lot my team. I try to speak to them. I try to do a lot of really one-on-ones. My one-on-ones are not about work.
Mm.
It's really about them.
Yeah.
It's a session where I really want to see how they feel. I want to know what's going on.
Mm.
If they agree, if they want to open up, it's their time. If they want to go over something at work
Mm.
for fine, we can talk about it. But I want to know um, what's inside the box.
Mhm.
I want to get a sense of if there's anything that we can do
Mm.
to help them or to give clarity on their day to day.
And so you and your wife pretty much live together and you also work together, right?
So my office is like opposite of her office, and we have half a wall and half a glass.
So how's that? How have you made that work? A lot of people can't do that, right? I mean, they like, I can't see my spouse 24/7. Like, how have y'all made this work?
So we're very clear on who does what. I don't overstep on her part.
Mhm.
She doesn't step on
Mhm.
my side. And we try. I'm saying, and again, nobody's perfect. When I say I get back home and I take care of my kids, there are days where sometimes I'm still on my phone.
Mhm.
I need to find that box where I can
Mhm.
put my phone in the box, and I
Mhm.
can't open it until the following day.
Mhm.
But with my wife as well, we that's where we're talking about our time when we go play pickleball
Mhm.
together. We need to find ways to divert our attention
Mhm.
from work, and when we're with the kids, we have to be focused with the kids. But during work hours, she's very busy running
Mhm.
that company.
Yeah.
She has a lot of, operations and factories and customers to take care
Mhm.
of, and the teams in China and Vietnam. So she's more than busy.
Mhm.
Um, she doesn't have time to take care of me. I say that, but if she does listen to this, she does prepare my lunch every day, and I'm grateful for that.
That's so funny. Cool. So Claude, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't, or anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we covered a lot. We talked about the country, we talked about leadership, we talked about people, we talked
Mhm.
about family. Um, no, it was really interesting.
Cool. So can you share like your social media in case anyone wants to reach out to you?
So anybody can reach out to me through either my email
Mhm.
or phone number. Probably you'll give it under the comment
Yeah.
page. Or reach out to any of the companies, rockhillasia.com
Okay.
or RH1.co or Ni Hao Ma, middle line Mandarin.com.
Okay. And so obviously we talked about a lot of stuff, but last thing, can you give us any advice or wisdom or anything you want to talk about?
Um, hmm, I'd say the only thing, I mean, and we talked about this during the whole, how many hours is it now?
Like almost 2 hours.
2 hours? Time flies when we have
Okay.
a good time. I'd say find a way to build a routine. I would encourage people to find a good standard routine where they can get as much benefit for themselves first, and then family, and then funny enough, you put business last. Because if you're not solid mentally yourself, and you don't have your loved ones close to you, you don't have a solid family that is loving and caring and is doing well, then business is meaningless. So your health is the most important, and then followed by, a caring ecosystem, a caring circle, and business will be fine.
Claude, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Jason Cavness Experience, Ho Chi Minh City Edition. If you're working to unfuck the earth, Earth VC wants to talk to you. Thanks for your time, and remember to be great every day.